After the Race is the fifth short story by James Joyce published in a 1914 collection titled Dubliners. Set in early 20th century Dublin, Ireland, this realist fiction is written in the modernist tradition and is from the third-person anonymous narrator's perspective. Click the link in the description box below to view our other Dubliners short stories. The tale begins with cars racing toward Dublin, and locals cheer as they watch this display of wealth and industry, especially when a blue French car passes by. The French team's cars place second and third, though a Belgian driver wins first for Germany. Each blue car gets a loud cheer from the Irish crowd. One of these cars carries 4 men, led by Frenchman Charles Seguin, who owns the car and one of the largest hotels in France. With him are his cousin, André Rivière from Canada, a Hungarian pianist named Valona who is comparatively poor, and a young Irishman, Jimmy Doyle. Seguin is excited to gain support for his new motor company. Rivière looks forward to managing it. Valona is content after a good lunch, but Jimmy is mainly excited by the thrill of it all. The neatly groomed Jimmy, 26, is the son of a wealthy Irish businessman who made his fortune with butcher shops and police contracts around Dublin. Jimmy's father once held strong Irish nationalist beliefs, but he became more moderate as he grew rich and hailed as a merchant prince. He funded his education in England, Dublin, and Cambridge, where Jimmy met Seguin. Jimmy wasn't an ideal student, preferring to socialize and spend money, much to his father's secret pride. As they drive, Jimmy struggles to follow Seguin and Rivière's conversation in the front seat but feels exhilarated by the speed. The attention he gets from locals for being with European continentals and his sense of wealth. Though Jimmy is confident in his own money, he knows it might not impress Seguin. Still, reassured by his father's advice on making money from car manufacturing, Jimmy is ready to invest in Seguin's new venture. In Dublin, Seguin drops Jimmy and Valona near a bank, and they walk to Jimmy's parents' house to change for dinner with Seguin and Rivière. Jimmy's family is thrilled he'll be dining with European friends. Dressed up, Jimmy looks handsome, making his father proud and friendly toward Valona, though Valona is mostly focused on his hunger. Dinner is wonderful, impressing Jimmy with Seguin's taste. They're joined by Routh, an English friend of Seguin's from Cambridge. Valona talks about English songs and music with Routh, and Rivière discusses French mechanics with Jimmy. However, Jimmy and Routh argue over politics until Seguin interrupts with a toast to humanity. Afterwards, they stroll through Stephen's Green, meet Rivière's American friend Farley, and head to his yacht via car and train. Valona plays the piano while the others dance. Later, they sit for drinks and play cards except Valona. As the games intensify, they hand out IOUs. Jimmy, drunk and struggling to keep track, is losing badly and wants the game to end, but they play one last round. In the end, Routh wins, and Jimmy realizes his losses are significant, especially as a hangover sets in. Exhausted, he slumps over, regretful but relieved to fall asleep. As dawn breaks, Valona returns, announcing the new day. Now let's look at the major themes of After the Race by James Joyce. The race symbolizes both the car race and the competition among European powers for global empires in the 19th century. By the early 20th century, imperial nations like England and France controlled much of the world. Joyce uses the car race to show Ireland's marginal position. There is no Irish car in the race. Irish spectators cheer for the French, their Catholic allies, though historically unreliable in supporting Irish freedom. Without a place in the race, politically or in the car event, Ireland has little choice but to support the French. The tale also reveals the Doyle family's political compromise for wealth. Jimmy's father, once a fervent Irish nationalist, became conservative as his business profited from contracts with the British-backed police. He sends Jimmy to England for education and encourages his investments in France, favoring personal gain over national loyalty. Jimmy's voice on Irish issues is muted at the dinner table, and by the end, an Englishman triumphs, with Jimmy's wealth spent away. After the Race suggests that Ireland is always left behind in the political race towards consolidating power. Jimmy embodies paralysis by failing to make any real advancement in life. Although his father spent his butcher earnings on Jimmy's elite education, Jimmy has gained little from it. He has friends, but they aren't truly loyal. From the beginning, where he struggles to hear Seguin and his cousin over the noise of Valona, it implies that Jimmy is only loosely part of the group. Perhaps they include him for the investment money he promised for Seguin's business. Just as the racing car goes nowhere, Jimmy's apparent success is stalled. Though he feels accomplished after the race, this is just an illusion. By the story's end, Jimmy is hapless, losing all his money at cards, which is his only asset to the group. His brief adventure with continental wealth and status seems close to over. Jimmy has a brief moment of clarity when he realizes the truth of his situation but does nothing to improve it. After a disastrous loss at cards, he hangs his head, aware that regret will come soon. The irony is that regret has already arrived. Dawn is here, signaling the start of another day. Jimmy faces the reality of his pretend wealth and foolish choices but avoids fully accepting it. Instead, he drowns himself in luxury, excited to be seen in the French car and convinced of his importance among his wealthy friends. Even when giving his speech on the yacht, he forgets it moments later, yet reassures himself it was good because it earned applause from his prestigious company. Joyce portrays Jimmy as passive and naive, placing misguided trust in wealth that constantly slips from his grasp. Jimmy's post-race experience with his friends is a warning against trying to overstep his means. With his family's moderate wealth, Jimmy assumes he can act as an equal to men who own hotels and yachts. But unlike them, he can't afford to lose large sums of money. Encouraged by his father to build connections, Jimmy enjoys the status he gains from their company and is eager to impress them. But his focus on socializing and spending leaves him looking foolish at the end, broke from drunken card games. His pursuit of riches and recognition results in only poverty and humiliation. Despite mingling with this wealthy circle, there's little indication of true friendship. They all compete for status and attention. Their gatherings don't nurture real bonds, only a superficial desire to be seen together. Vilhona, unlike Jimmy, isn't desperate to impress the group. Although he is very poor, this is well known and doesn't concern him. He dresses formally for dinner out of respect, but he doesn't try to make an impression, and he refrains from playing cards because he can't afford to. Instead, he plays the piano, and then calmly watches the sunrise on the deck. Vilhona's acceptance by the group reflects their genuine liking for him, not based on wealth or status. He ends the evening as the rational voice, announcing the arrival of the new day. Hope you subscribe for more Dubliner videos linked in the description box.